What's up, fight fans? Welcome to my channel. This is Johnny, and in today's video, we're going to be going over the statistics that nobody talks about when mentioning this weekend's interim title fight at 168 pounds between Christian Mbili and the Polish fighter Maciej Sulecki. Guys, before I continue, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to everybody who's been with me since day one. If you haven't already, could you please remember to hit subscribe? Could you also like this video? And right now, go down to the bottom of your screen, find the bell notification button, click that so you never miss a video. All right, guys, if you've been paying attention, we've been making our international tour around the world this week in boxing. We just got back from Australia covering the fights. Liam Wilson, Liam Perro, we know both of those guys came out on top. We've also documented a fight at 135 pounds taking place on the undercard of the Paul Chavez Jr. fight card in Anaheim this weekend between Tevin and Floyd Schofield. But today, we're going to Quebec City, Canada. We're going to be featuring a really interesting matchup at 168 pounds. The WBC interim title will be on the line. We have undefeated knockout artist Christian Mbili taking on a rugged Polish fighter named Maciej Sulecki. So in this video, what we're going to do is break down both fighters' careers. We're going to talk a little bit about how they go about their business. Stay tuned to the end of the video because, like always, I'll be giving you my prediction and be going over those Las Vegas odds and telling you where to put your money. All right, guys, the traveling soldier in this matchup is Maciej Sulecki. He's a 3-loss Polish fighter. He has a tricky style. Every time you count him out, he comes back. His 3 losses are to some very good opposition. We know he lost to Danny Jacobs, Boo Boo Andrade, and then more recently he got stopped against Diego Pacheco, and just when you write him off, he comes back in his next fight right after he got stopped and fought a very tough opponent, and he stopped him to put him back on the winning ways. This sets up the opportunity against a very tough 30-year-old opponent, Cameroon-born, Canadian, living Christian Mbili. He's undefeated. He has a high knockout to win ratio. Both guys know what's at stake. Each one of them believes that they have what it takes to become a world champion, full world champion at 168. We know all the belts are held up, and we're going to have a lot of answers to these questions come September when Canelo puts all of those belts on the line against Bud Crawford. And we will see what the sanctioning bodies do after that September fight. We could see a couple fragmentations of the belt, but for now, this is for an interim title with the WBC on the line. So right now, I want to remind everybody what's at stake this weekend in Canada. All right, guys, Christian Mbili is just days away from his biggest fight to date, which will take place on Friday in Quebec City, Canada. Heading into his first major title fight, he says he's planning to make his opponent, Maciej Sulecki, pay for all the hard work he's had to put in for training. And I quote, "I always say that after such a difficult journey, this entire training camp and all the ups and downs, there has to be someone who'll pay the price. And I think Sulecki will have to pay for it on Friday," said Mbili at Wednesday's press conference at Center and Videotron, where their WBC interim super middleweight title fight will take place. As usual, I expect a spectacular fight, and once again, I'll be leaving with the victory. Sulecki of Warsaw, Poland is coming off one of his biggest wins to date, a 10th round stoppage of Ali Akhmedov in February to earn the WBC silver belt at 168 pounds. The 36-year-old Sulecki had previously challenged for a world title, losing a shutout to Demetrius Andrade in 2019, but was knocked out in 6 rounds by Diego Pacheco last August. I'm not going to say that I'll put him out faster than Diego Pacheco did, but I can promise a more spectacular fight, and that, at the end of it, Sulecki will feel more pain than after his fight with Pacheco, said Mbili. That said, if the knockout happens, good, because I'm not paid to do overtime. Sulecki, for his part, says he isn't intimidated by his opponent despite his unbeaten record, saying he's had a good training camp, and I quote, "I know Christian Mbili is a good fighter. He's very strong and aggressive, and sometimes he's very wild in the ring. But I know what I have to do in the ring. I'm ready," said Sulecki. "The most important thing for Mbili right now is this fight with me. He can talk all he wants about his plans, but he has to fight me first." The only thing Sulecki and Mbili can do in this fight is win and get a piece of that interim belt and hopefully one day become a world champion. Right now, I do want to take a closer look at the fighter from Warsaw, Poland, Sulecki, and see what he's been up to in his career. Guys, Maciej Sulecki is 33-3 with 13 knockouts out of 1,791 fighters in the world at 168 pounds. He's ranked number 26. He's fought a total career 237 pro rounds and carries into the ring a 39% career knockout to win ratio. His adoring fans know him as Trickzu, and the 36-year-old Polish fighter is a 6'1" orthodox fighter with a 68-inch reach. He was born and raised in Warsaw, Poland. We last saw him fight Ali Akhmedov, 23-1, stopped him in the 10th. Diego Pacheco, 21-0, he got stopped in the 6th. Montgomery, 11-5, won a UD in the 10th. Angel Hernandez, 19-21, stopped him in the 2nd. Masudi, 17-15, won a UD in the 8th. So guys, on paper, Sulecki has been in there with some really tough opponents. He has a win over Gabriel Rosado. We talked about the losses to Danny Jacobs, the stoppage loss to Diego Pacheco. I think that's an interesting outcome considering how he got stopped. He got stopped to the body. So regarding Mbilli's game plan, it's something that I'm going to keep my eye on in terms of a strategy. I think what Sulecki is going to have to do is 100% get Mbilli's respect off jump. Mbilli's going to be on his front foot. He's going to try and go make a statement. Quebec City isn't his birthright home, but he is a Canadian resident. So this is a sort of homecoming as of sorts for Mbili, and we know that he likes to put on a show. Right now, I do want to take a closer look at Christian Mbili and see what he's been up to in his career. All right, guys, Christian Mbili is 28-0 with 23 knockouts. Out of 1,791 fighters in the world at 168 pounds, he's ranked number 2. He's fought a career total of 132 pro rounds and carries into the ring an 82% career knockout to win ratio. His adoring fans know him as Solide, and the 30-year-old Orthodox fighter stands at 5'8.5" with a 72-inch reach. He was born in Yaoundé, Cameroon, but calls Montreal, Quebec, Canada home. We last saw him fight Sergey Derevyanchenko, 15-5, UD in the 10th. Heffron, 30-3, knockout in the 1st. Murdoch, 27-2, stopped him in the 6th. Nicholson, 26-5, knockout in the 4th. Gongora, 21-0, won a UD in the 10th. So on Christian Mbili's resume, it's really not stockpiled with a bunch of big names. He is one of those guys at 30 years old that has kind of been waiting in line, waiting for his turn. He has put his hand up every time somebody has asked regarding if he wants to fight Canelo. We know about the name in front of him that never got the Canelo fight, David Benavidez. Question is, how many other fighters at 168 think that they can mix it up with Mbili? He has an aggressive style, a fun style. He has a lot of power. He's always looking for the stoppage. His resume in terms of biggest step-ups, biggest challenges, there are some guys on it, but I think he's still waiting for a big step-up. And in terms of who Sulecki has fought, this is going to be a good scalp on Mbili's resume if he's able to get past Sulecki. Like we talked about who Sulecki's been in there with, he's not going to be intimidated by Mbili. It's going to come down to game planning and execution. When I look at these guys side by side, you got to bring up the age. Sulecki, the Polish fighter, is going to be older. Is he at the back end of his career? Have we seen the best of him? He'll be the first to tell you that he's never felt better, especially coming off a great performance in his last fight. He's going to be the taller guy, but something to think about is he has a reach disadvantage. Mbili's only listed at 5'8.5", and I feel in terms of what Sulecki has shown us, watching the Pacheco fight, seeing how Diego broke him down and knocked him out to the body, I would like to see Mbili go in there and execute a game plan similar. Break the body down, don't get caught headhunting, and then finish up top. And I feel he'll have a good opportunity to get Sulecki out of there. Right now, I do want to take a closer look at the Las Vegas odds. Before I give you guys my prediction, I want to remind everybody, if you're new to the channel, I do live streams every single day. And in those live streams, we go over our long parlays, method of victory prop bets, outcomes, knockdown props, all that good stuff. So tune in to my daily live stream and be sure to hit the bell notification button so you can be reminded. Right now, we're going to look at the money line. So let's pull our betting apps out. All right, guys, currently Christian Mbili is the favorite at $1.04, meaning you put $100 on him to win, you get your money back plus $4. The draw is 33-1. Sulecki, big underdog here. You put 100 on him, you get your money back plus 1,300. So those odds have a lot to do with career trajectory. They have a lot to do with Mbili's style, his knockout to win ratio, him never having tasted defeat before, the fight being in Canada, Sulecki having been stopped 2 fights ago and having 3 losses on his resume. All that aside, I think Mbili's explosivity, I think his power is going to be too much, his speed, and I think Sulecki is there to get hits, and it's going to be only a matter of time when Mbili closes the show. I'm pretty confident to put Mbili on my money line. The problem is at $1.04, not a lot of juice to squeeze there. So pay attention to my live stream later on today where we'll go over some of those knockdown prop bets, add a little bit more value to that. or an over and under bet if your sports book allows you to take those odds. Guys, you don't have to agree with me. Maybe you see something in Sulecki that I don't see. Maybe you think he could use his experience over Mbili and get the victory, whatever it is, in the comment section below. Do you think Mbilli is going to remain undefeated, or do you think the Polish fighter is going to come in and spoil the party? Also, if you haven't seen my breakdown, prediction, and analysis of a fun fight taking place in America this weekend as well between Floyd Schofield and Tevin Farmer, stay tuned to the channel because that's coming up right now. What's up, fight fans? Welcome to my channel. This is Johnny, and in today's video, we're going to be going over the statistics that nobody talks about when mentioning this weekend's fight at 135 pounds between Floyd Schofield and Tevin Farmer. Guys, before I continue, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to everybody who's been with me since day one. If you haven't already, could you please remember to hit subscribe? Also, like this video, and right now, go down to the bottom of your screen, find that bell notification button, click that so you never miss a video. Let's get into this. All right, guys, another busy week in boxing. So far, we've covered the fights that are taking place in Australia. Liam Perro, Liam Wilson are both fighting. If you're catching this on fight day, remember to tune in tonight to the channel because I'll be streaming live. But in this video, we're going to be making a stop in California. We're going to talk about an interesting matchup at 135 pounds between an up-and-coming prospect versus a seasoned, grizzled, former world champion veteran. So in this video, we're going to be going over both fighters, Schofield and Farmer. We're going to talk a little bit about how they go about their business, their game plans, their path to victories. Like all these videos, what I'm also going to do at the end, so stay tuned. We're going to go over those current Las Vegas odds, and I'll also be giving you my prediction and telling you where to put your money. All right, guys, this fight takes place on the undercard of Jake Paul versus Chavez Jr. This is an intriguing matchup between two very different fighters, two very different careers, and in my opinion, two very different skill sets. Now, when you look at Floyd Schofield, Kid Austin, he's only 22 years old, and in my opinion, this will be hands down his biggest step up in competition. I also believe he's still figuring out at 22 who he is as a fighter. We know he's undefeated, but as of late, he has been embroiled in some controversy. We know what happened during his last fight week, the last second pullout when he was supposed to fight Shakur Stevenson, and then the fight before that, he's coming off a victory against Rene Guerin. But guys, in the 11th round, he got dropped in that fight, and the fight before that, he got buzzed a little bit. So I'm just referencing that in terms of it's not really been too smooth of sailing for Floyd Schofield so far, and I'm kind of shocked when we get there that he's actually on the odds the favorite. He's going to be an aggressive guy like all 22-year-old undefeated fighters. He's going to go in there and try to bully his opponent. Right off the bat, he's going to try to get on the front foot and control Tevin Farmer's movement with his aggression, and it's going to be up to Farmer to see how he deals with that. With Farmer, we know the 34-year-old is a former world champion at 130 pounds. We know that his resume isn't perfect, and I know a lot of people like to look at his total losses. He has 8 of them and use that against him. Also, he's lost 3 in a row, but this is a guy with an interesting career. He's not marketed and promoted by a big promoter, so it's important to mention Schofield is the A side. He's the golden boy product. Farmer is kind of historically, as of late, loses really close decisions. Twice to Zepeda and once to Murataya. And when you rewatch those fights, you'll see Tevin Farmer's skill set on full display. He dropped Zepeda in the first fight, and some of those close rounds in all 3 fights could have gone either way. In his very first pro fight, he got stopped, and then you have to go to his 12th pro fight when he got stopped by Jose Pedraza. So of his 8 losses, 2 of them happened in the very first part of his career. He then went on this really impressive 20-fight plus win streak and then lost to Joseph Diaz. So up until that point, he was on fire, loses to Diaz, and then he's lost his last 3. So he's really looking to get back on track. The 34-year-old claims that this has been his best camp. He says that he has not lost a step, and it makes a really intriguing matchup when you're looking at the stylistic components of this fight. So right now, I do want to take a closer look at what's at stake this weekend in Anaheim. All right, guys, in 3 consecutive fights, Tevin Farmer believes he was given the short end of the stick. Make that however you will. I'm sure you guys watch those fights like myself. I'm not going to say I would have given all 3 to him. I'm not even going to say I would have given 2 to Tevin. But Tevin, at this stage of his career, I brought it up on my live streams earlier this week, he kind of reminds me a bit of Sandor Martin in such that in a lot of these fights and a lot of these rounds that could go either way, they go to the other fighter and he ends up losing close decisions. So you can take that and make whatever you want out of that. On June 28th at the Honda Center in Anaheim, Farmer will take a stroll to the ring where Floyd Schofield Jr. will be waiting for him. Schofield and his father have told the boxing world that they're ready to face the biggest and best names available at 135. Farmer undoubtedly respects Schofield's willingness to mix it up with the division's top dogs, but for now, the experience he has isn't his strong suit. As Farmer takes a long look through his resume, he can't help but smile. Although his 22-year-old foe believes he's seen it all, Farmer is overwhelmingly confident that he actually hasn't seen anything yet, and I quote, "Kid Austin's about to learn my skills are different than anything he's ever seen," said Farmer. Schofield's experience wouldn't be viewed as weakness if his matchup with Shakur Stevenson had followed through. A short time ago, Schofield was incredibly happy when it was announced that he would be given a shot at Stevenson's WBC world title. But thanks to an illness and subsequent trip to the hospital, he pulled out. Since then, Schofield has defended himself from an avalanche of criticism. A win over a former world champion such as Farmer would go a long way towards that. A 3-fight losing streak is never a good thing, but controversy was attached to Farmer's losses to Raymond Mortaya and William Zepeda. He left those decisions in the hands of the judges. He believes he was let down. Against Schofield, there's a chance they could straddle another L to his resume. To avoid that, he'll make sure he gives them the night off. "I'm knocking him out to teach him a lesson," says Tevin Farmer. If you ask Farmer, he claims that he's going to go in there and be too much for Schofield. When you look at Farmer, let's look at the very last fight against Zepeda. When you look at the punch stats, if you want to break it down, how they gave it to Zepeda. Zepeda's volume and his pressure is going to be a lot for every single fighter he goes up against. That's why this upcoming matchup with Zepeda versus Shakur is going to be interesting. But in the second Farmer fight, a lot of the punches, when you rewatch the tape, what Farmer does really well in the pocket is he uses his shell really tight, and he's able to deflect a lot of those punches off of his shoulders and off of his arms. Not saying that those punches don't add up throughout a fight, but they weren't really clean in terms of what Zepeda was trying to do. Farmer has good hand speed. He's a good counter boxer. He's a good mover. He likes moving back. He's very slick in there, and he feels all of that combined with what he's seen at 34. He still has a world-class elite performance left. With Floyd Schofield, the jury's still out. I know he has a lot of fans. He has a lot of hype. He's been heavily promoted by Golden Boy. But when you look at his resume, it's hard to find any names that jump off of it. It's actually hard to find any performances, if you ask me, to even think that he's at a world-class level. He is going to get a great opportunity this weekend to prove to his doubters, to prove to the boxing world, and to prove to the other guys at 135 that he belongs. Right now, I do want to take a closer look at Schofield's resume and see what he's been up to. Guys, Schofield's 18-0 with 12 knockouts out of 2,600 fighters in the world at 135 pounds. He's ranked number 17. He's fought a career total of 77 pro rounds. He carries into the ring a 67% career knockout to win ratio. His adoring fans know him as Kid Austin, and the 22-year-old American is a 5'7" orthodox fighter. He was born in Jersey City, New Jersey, but calls Austin, Texas, USA home. We last saw him fight Rene Guiron, 20-3, won a UD in the 12th. Suero, 13-1, won a DQ in the 5th. Torres, 17-7, stopped him in the 1st. Rhodes, 28-4, UD in the 10th. Leon, 23-1, knockout in the 2nd. So if you're leaning on Schofield to beat Farmer, the one positive you could say is that in his last couple fights, he's taken a shot. He's been able to handle it. He's been dropped once, been buzzed once. They didn't call the time the fight before Guiron a knockdown, but it could have been called that, and he just brushed it off. He won decisions in both of those fights. Haskell has an interesting style, kind of herky-jerky, moves a lot. Schofield handled that puzzle pretty well, in my opinion. My issue with Floyd Schofield, though, is at this stage of the game at 22, put aside that he's still developing, he's far from a finished product, I don't think he goes in there with each fight and knows who he is as a fighter regarding game plans and executing game plans. Watch his most recent performances. You catch him switching stances a lot. I don't know if that has a lot to do with the era he comes from in terms of, you know, one of the best fighters in the world switches stances a lot, Terrence Crawford. But sometimes you see generationally, whenever a top guy is leading the sport, you get a lot of sort of mimics. And I see with Schofield, sometimes he does too much within a fight. I feel that if you just focus and stay disciplined in terms of fighting from that orthodox style, executing a game plan, and being patient with his work, there's nothing as of yet that I feel that I see in his skill set that Tevin Farmer thinks that he hasn't seen yet. So it's no wonder going into this fight, Farmer is feeling pretty confident, even though the Vegas odds have him as an underdog, that he's going to beat Schofield. Right now, let's look at Farmer's resume and see what he's been up to. Guys, Tevin Farmer's 33-8-1 with 8 knockouts out of 2,600 fighters in the world at 135. He's ranked number 18. He's fought a total of 325 pro rounds and carries into the ring a 24% career knockout to win ratio. His adoring fans know him as 2 times in the 34-year-old American's a 5'6" southpaw with a 67-inch reach. He was born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, USA. We last saw him fight Zepeda, 32-0, lost a majority decision in the 12th. Zepeda the first time, 31-0, lost a split in the 10th. Morataya, 20-0, lost to UD in the 10th. Castillo, 27-14, stopped him in the first. Baraja, 7-8, stopped him in the 6th. So, like I said, it's been well documented. Tevin Farmer needs to get a victory, needs to get back on the winning streak, loses a lot of decisions very closely. I think it's going to come down to his work rate and his volume. I also think for some reason in some of his fights, this might sound a little rudimentary, but sometimes in his fights, he doesn't have the best body language. He sometimes holds a lot. He's been deducted in recent fights for actually excessive clinching and excessive holding. And sometimes maybe that's what judges are seeing when they give rounds to his opponent when clearly it could have been a Tevin Farmer round. He has more power than a 25% career knockout to win ratio suggests. He has really good timing, and a lot of the sort of things that you can't measure on paper during a boxing match goes in the favor of Tevin Farmer. His ring experience, his fight IQ, his timing, what he does in the pocket. He has a slick clinch game. So when I look at both fighters side by side, you can take the age and you can make whatever you want of the age, 34 and 22. We know about the resumes. The ring experience is insane. Schofield, 77 pro rounds. Farmer's over 300 pro rounds. It says orthodox versus southpaw on paper, but like I said, Schofield will switch a lot, and we'll see which side he gets more comfortable on. Like I said, I like Schofield more as an orthodox fighter, and we'll see if he makes adjustments as well. With young fighters at 22 years old, you want to see him adding levels to the game, and for me, up until this part of his career, I really haven't seen that from fight to fight. But like I said, he has a lot of time to grow, and he's far from a finished product. Right now, I want to take a closer look at the Las Vegas odds. Guys, remember, this is going to be a money line prediction. I do live streams every day, so catch those live streams. In those live streams, we go over knockdown props, parlay props, method of victory prop bets. So wherever you are tuning in the world, let's pull our betting apps out and look at those odds. All right, guys, currently on the money line, Floyd Schofield is a $1.58 favorite, meaning you put 100 on him just to win. You get your money back plus $58. The draw is 15-1. Tevin Farmer is a $2.55 underdog, meaning you put 100 on Farmer, you get your money back plus $155. So as of now, Farmer's not quite a 2-1 dog. It's interesting if you guys want to do your research, go look at his odds the last 3 fights. He was a huge dog in the versus Zepeda fight. I think like 10-1. The second fight, it was more like 6-1. He was a big dog in the Morataya fight. And some of these odds, him going into these fights, you'd have to think the reason for him being such a big dog, and I think the promoters wouldn't want to admit this, is that he always comes in as the B-side. He always comes in as the guy that's supposed to lose, so the odds suggest that. So if you're betting on Farmer to win this fight, I will be weary. I'm not saying that he's going to lose. I am telling you he is the better boxer. All in all, Farmer does everything better than Schofield. The thing Schofield has in his advantage is youth, that youth energy. He'll probably have better legs than him in terms of being able to handle that, his movement patterns, explosivity. But I've seen Schofield fade later in fights as well. So I don't want to give the endurance side to Floyd Schofield. You got to give the mental game to Farmer. I think this is going to be a masterclass boxing lesson Farmer's going to put on Schofield. So with my prediction, I'm confident Tevin Farmer's going to come out as the victor and beat Floyd Schofield. I am hesitant if you guys are gamblers and betting on this. Keep in the back of your mind that Farmer does lose a lot of close decisions. He is the B-side, and Golden Boy is promoting heavily with Floyd Schofield. Just keep that in the back of your mind. But from a straight-up boxing perspective, winning more rounds, winning on the cards, I don't see anything that Schofield does better than Farmer. Even the power doesn't suggest that he's going to be able to one-punch knockout Tevin Farmer. Down in the comment section below, this is not an echo chamber. You do not have to agree with me. Are you going to go on the favorite side, Kid Austin, or are you taking the underdog, Tevin Farmer?